Okay, welcome to Pursuitery. We're going to be playing with the MusicMaker Shield for Arduino today. I'm going to switch to my other camera so you can see what I'm talking about. So the Shield is something that we are going to add on to an Arduino so that you can play sounds of any kind, music or anything that you record, and it will play in MP3 or WAV or other formats from an SD card, and you can use software to control how that plays. So I've actually got a little speaker wired up here because last time it took some time for me to connect the speakers. So I got a speaker wired up, and here's an Arduino Uno, and here's the Shield. And this thing here is the SD card adapter that I can use to load sound onto the little SD card. The SD card fits into this. The SD card is actually very, very tiny, so the adapter is what enables me to plug this into my computer and to load files onto it. You need to format the card first. Jill, what kind of computer are you using there? Is it a Mac or a Windows computer?
I played 2 tracks into each SD card just for testing purposes, but I didn't format them first.
Okay, so I used an application called the SD Formatter for the Mac. So there must be an SD Formatter for Windows. So you might want to look that up.
Let me do some searching.
I'm not Evan?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. My name's Evan, the community manager for Pursuitery. Why don't I do some searching since I'm going to be kind of listening in anyway. I'll see if I can find a Windows app for it. I'm looking for something to format SD memory card.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat if I come across something, and knowing the internet, I most probably will. I hope.
Okay. Great.
Find something.
Jill, it's a little bit hard for me to hear you. Is there a way that you can talk closer to the microphone?
Is this better?
That's a little better, yeah.
Okay.
So speak pretty distinctly. Do you have the chat window open?
I do have the chat window open.
Okay, I'm putting a link into the chat window. That's the link to this Hangout. So if you get disconnected, that's a good way to get back in.
Okay.
And also, we're going to follow the directions from Adafruit. So I'm going to put those directions in here as well. So that's a PDF that's got all the directions here. So why don't we do some brief introductions? So Evan introduced himself. I'm Howard, and I've organized this, and I'm pretty much a novice. I know maybe a little bit more than a beginner. So these are really about peer learning. Paul is someone that I have worked with before who knows maybe a little bit more than I do. So why don't you introduce yourself, Paul? And I'm in California.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something happened to my browser, so I can't see. Everything is blacked out here. I'm sorry about that. But you can hear me. So I'm from Norway, and I'm just also starting out this Arduino stuff. It's great fun. Looking forward to it.
So Paul helped me figure out how to do this the first time, and now so this is the second time I've done it. So I know a couple of the things that didn't go quite right the last time. So I was pointing out some of the things here. This is the Shield, and we're gonna connect that to the Arduino, and then we're gonna connect the Arduino to the computer with a USB cable. Um, the next thing we're going to do involves these header pins. So these are in your MusicMaker kit, and you use these a lot in Arduino and other electronics. They're really handy ways to make a lot of connections without having to solder a lot of wires. And you can also use what's called wire wrap, which I will not do today, to connect wires. And wire wrapping is a little bit more effective for the beginner than soldering. So I don't know whether you've done any practice soldering. Do you kids want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Reva. I'm from New York.
I'm Will. I'm from New Jersey.
I'm Ben from New Jersey. I'm Sophie from Jersey.
So have you kids practiced any soldering yet?
Yeah.
We did that this afternoon. Now, one thing that happened was I bought, last week, at the beginning of last week, I bought solder, and then we cleaned our house. So when we put in brought some solder, and the kids practiced with this.
That's pretty thick solder. Let me see that.
We are at a friend's house in New Jersey. By the way, these are some of the kids from my project-based learning class. I sent the husband of my friend out to buy some thinner solder, and hopefully he's on his way back from Radio Shack right now. But they actually got quite good at only covering one or two holes with this solder over the course of the afternoon. Oh, and the thinner solder has now arrived. Because of some of the mistakes from the last project, I also got a desoldering wick and a desoldering gun. So,
Okay, good. The kind of solder you want is 60-40 rosin core solder, and it's a 0.032 diameter. And this is, let me see how much thinner this solder is.
Yeah. It looks like it would be
So it's you can get it at Radio Shack, or you can order it online from Adafruit. But this is 0.032 is the size of it. It's light duty. One thing to remember about solder is that it contains lead. So when you're done soldering, you want to wash your hands so you don't accidentally eat something with your fingers and get lead in your system. It's not good for you. Also, when we solder, there's some smoke that comes off. You want to blow that smoke away. It's not really healthy to inhale. So the first...
You're going to have 032 soldering wire. So, sorry, I did not mean to interrupt. Okay.
So yeah, you need to kind of talk close to the microphone so that we can hear you. I've got a microphone right close to my mouth, so that makes it much easier. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these headers here, and I'm using a needle nose plier, which is a very handy thing to have when you're doing this stuff. And I'm going to carefully count, and I'm going to break off a group of 10 of them as the first thing. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Last time somebody broke off the wrong number. Like I said, the ones that I have to replace this don't match. So be really careful with your counting.
Okay, I want to make sure that I'm in the right place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm going to break this off here. They break off very easily, and I'm afraid I broke off 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. Yep.
Should I break it off? Break it off.
So I accidentally broke off. Oh boy. Now, well, this is giving me an 8, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fortunately, I have some extras, so this time I did it right. And so here's an 8. And then I'm going to try to break off a 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay. So is it 2 10s and an 8 that we need?
Let me see. You're going to want 1 10, 2 8s, and 1 6.
1 10, 2 8s, and 1 6. Okay, if somebody broke off a 9, can they do a 9 and a 1?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10.
Let's see something. What is my...
Wait, so 1, 10, 2, 8, and 6, right?
Yeah.
You could, if you don't have extras, you could use a 9 and a 1. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but it can be done.
Okay, hang on a second. Let's see if these will fit. Okay. Because I ordered. Okay. See if this is the same size as what you've got.
Got it. 1, 10, 2, 8, and 6. I have an extra 4. So
Okay, I got 2 8s.
You said 14 if you can.
I've got 2 8s, a 10, and a 6.
Does everybody have, okay, if you want me to,
So,
which one?
if you look at your Arduino pins, you'll see that there are places for 10, 8, 8, and 6.
Okay, guys, everybody look at the Arduino. You see how there are places for 10, 8, 8, and 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to want to stick these into the pins of the Arduino with the long side down.
Okay, so long side down, stick them into the pins of the Arduino.
Yeah, there's only one place that has 10 of them. That's the one that has the numbers that say 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. And then when it goes to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, that's an 8. So you put an 8 in there, the long side down, fit them in firmly so that they slide all the way in, so that the short sides are sticking up. And then on the other side of the Arduino, you're going to want to put the 8 in.
Long side down.
There's only one place for an 8 on the other side. And then you want to put a 6 in, and there's only one place for a 6.
Yeah. As everybody gets done, can you hold yours up to, so that they can see it when you hear it's done correctly? Okay.
So I'm trying to put this up on my screen here so that you can see what it looks like fully assembled.
And Reva, it should be sticking all the way.
Yeah, no, I'm just putting on make sure.
Okay. Sophia, is yours fully assembled? Okay.
See what those look like?
Okay. Hold yours up. Let me. Okay. Everybody hold. Okay. Everybody has them done over here.
Okay, and then you've got another little thing in your kit that's a little black thing that's got 6 pins in it.
Okay.
See that?
Look at the thing that has 6 pins in it.
It's black.
I have it. You have that? Okay. Does everybody have it?
And then you'll see on the right side of the board here, there's a place that's got 6 pins. There's 2 rows of 3, and it's right over here. If it's on the opposite side of the board from where the USB port is. And then you put that female side down so that the male pins are sticking up.
Okay.
So this is what I've just put on right here.
No, it's opposite side from the USB port. Okay. When you're done, everybody hold it up. Yes, yes, and yes. Okay.
Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is take the shield. And you can tell which way it goes by looking for where the 6 pins are on your right. And if you fit it on correctly,
So go ahead and stick it on top.
it should fit onto all of those pins.
It does. Okay. Guys, when you've got it, don't hold it up. Make sure it fits. Yeah, fit like this.
Okay. So this is what it should look like when you're done. You've got the shield on top of the Arduino connected with the pins, and the little short ends are sticking out. I'm going to put a little brighter light on this so that I can get the soldering done.
Okay. Yeah. Now the kids are wondering if they'll be able to take it off the Arduino to do other projects with the Arduinos.
So, yeah, to make this work, you sort of have to sacrifice an Arduino. I think it might work without soldering them, because these connections are fairly good. But if it doesn't work, it's because you haven't soldered it on.
Okay.
So, yeah, the thing about these shields is that it takes an entire Arduino.
Okay.
So I'm going to solder these on.
And you can solder yours on. Reba and Sophie, let me pick up the
Howard?
Yeah, hello?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes, Paul.
I was just going to say that you don't actually sacrifice the Arduino because you can take the shield off when you're done with the project.
Oh, okay.
You mean you don't have to solder them?
You solder it, but you're only soldering onto the MusicMaker shield, and when you're finished, you can remove the shield from the Arduino.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's
so
right. Thank you very much.
So to reiterate, we're only soldering on MusicMaker shield and not onto the Arduino itself.
Right.
Okay.
So you can pull it off later. Okay. So
The soldering. Okay.
So I've got a soldering iron with a fine tip, and the tip only costs a few dollars, and I highly recommend ordering one for this kind of work. It's much harder to do with the chisel tip. If you've got a chisel tip, what you want to do is use the very edge of the tip.
Okay.
So
every time.
what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold the
Look at what he's
tip
doing.
of the soldering iron at the intersection of the pin hole and where the pin comes through. And I'm going to hold it there for a couple of seconds. And I'm going to put the solder in right at the place where they meet. I'm going to put it onto the soldering iron, but also onto the pin itself. And why is this not working? Should be. Okay.
Okay, so you guys see how he's doing?
So you see I've soldered it on, and there's just like a teeny piece of solder there, and it's not large enough that it would accidentally bridge to the next one. which would make a short circuit, so it wouldn't work. They say that ideally they should look like little ice cream cones with a little peak at the tip. So the key is first hold it down long enough that both the pinhole and the pin get hot, and then feed not too much solder, but I'd say about 1/4 of an inch of solder into it and melt it on, and then keep the soldering iron on for just a second and then take it off. See how that works? You get better at it as you go along.
Yeah, you
So I've
don't
done 2.
go along, but remember, most important thing, don't cover more than one hole because you're going to have a short circuit. Hold the soldering iron for just a second or two before you put the solder on it. Okay?
Yeah, you can't use the
Take
tip.
a look at what he's doing. Take a look at how Howard is setting. See, he is.
Hot enough. So I've got 3 of them. I've got a bunch more to go. I find soldering to be very satisfying when you can get it to work.
Toss it to
Well, yeah.
Sophie, let Sophie.
Notice I'm blowing that smoke away. You don't want that smoke to get in your face.
Okay, so you need to do that with all of them. While the soldering's going on, I'm going to download the SD card formatter and try to format everything.
Okay, you know, it said, did you see Evan's chat?
Yeah.
What
It said you don't need a formatter, maybe.
what OS are you using? What operating system of Windows?
8.1.
Oh. Wow, for once I'm not informed on a Windows operating system. Woohoo!
You know, you're probably very lucky that you're not familiar with it.
I spent 5 years doing it every day.
Yeah, when my computer broke, I spent a long time looking for a Windows 7 computer before I gave up. So, let's see.
So the formatter 4. Yeah, there's that SD formatter 4.0, and that does include a Windows 8 version. So if you just select the one on that, I think it's the last link that I put in there above Howard's note about the solder. And I'd just like to mention for the record, I'm very jealous of what appears to be your backyard, or wherever you are, because
Yeah, it's my friend's backyard. It's really great. Yeah, friend's backyard.
Excellent.
I'm very jealous of it too.
Okay, so I've got the 10 and the 8 on one side soldered, and now before I do the other side, I don't want to forget the 6. Remember that little black thing you put in, so I'm going to do that.
You know, I'm not actually seeing. Okay, there we go.
I was just going to say, are you sure that the card is not formatted already?
Let me see if I can.
If you bought it in the store, it's already formatted normally.
Okay, so let's assume it's formatted then, because it did not have any issues whatsoever with putting the music on. And
okay, then you're fine.
Okay.
Because if it's not formatted, it won't let you put the music on.
Okay, yeah, let me put the music on and...
How are we doing with the soldering, kids?
I guess, and then we have Sophie and Reva.
Yeah, I'm only going to solder with one thing, and then it'll be stuck.
Okay.
If we do, like, we take turns, so it's like, you do one side, and then Sophie's turn, then she does one side, then
Okay, yeah, each of you can take one side, and then after the hangout is over, we can all solder the other side, so that that way you can do it at your leisure.
with your soldering iron, you should have a little sponge and a little copper thing. Do you have one of those?
Yes.
Okay, so after every couple solders, make sure that you clear the solder off so that it doesn't have a bunch of solder hanging on it.
Yeah. Although I read that after we were done with it, we're supposed to put solder on the tip to start. Yeah, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to see if I can figure out.
Okay, I'm closing in on my last 8 here.
So he's
So that's because he uses like a different solder. He uses the same solder. No, a different tip.
So you're not seeing it, but I'm cleaning this off after every few.
That's okay. You can do it. I believe in you.
Oh, no, but it just has to be put together before it's used.
Oh, guys, all we need to do is like one row and then do a row on the opposite side. So we want to do one row. That's it. I didn't need I want to do the 8 and the 8.
3.
I took them the 10 and the 6.
Okay, I think I've got them all soldered. Well, I think I need to add a little bit more.
Okay.
So when you're done soldering, inspect it and make sure that none of your soldering connections are bridging to the one next to them. And if you've got something that's bridged, that desoldering tape can be used. So let me know if you've got an issue with that, and we can talk about how you go about doing that.
But if it was, then it'd be like completely connected.
I'm going to hold something up to you. I don't know. Can you see? Is that?
Oh, wait, no, it's not a bridge.
It's not a.
No, I'm sure it's not, because whenever something else bridged, it like completely molded together.
Okay. Although this would be a good time to find out what you would do if you had a bridge. And is that where you'd use the desoldering with?
I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yes. So Ben is saying he does not have a bridge, but if we did have a bridge, is that where we would use the desoldering wick?
Yes.
Okay.
So you take the desoldering wick and you kind of flatten it out so that you've got it, so it's flat side down. And you put that over where the bridge is. I'm trying to find out. And you put that firmly down onto it, and then you put the soldering iron onto that, and the copper should absorb the solder.
Oh, okay. So you got that? Are you absolutely?
And, you know, hold that soldering iron firmly down onto the copper with the copper on the solder. Do you have a solder sucker?
We do.
Okay, sometimes that will help as well.
Yes.
And you have to be really careful that you don't scrape through connections, but sometimes if there's just a little piece, you can use an X-Acto knife. So if there was a bridge between these two here, I could use an X-Acto knife and just cut it a little bit. But you want to be careful and look to make sure that you're not cutting through any traces on the shield. So the X-Acto knife is kind of a tool of last resort there if you can't get it with the the solder sucker or the desoldering wire.
Okay.
For this, well, first of all, this is a picture tape.
Oh, that's okay. That's probably
This is how the picture tape is.
but he's
Okay, so now I'm going to connect my speaker directly to the connections here, but you will see that there's this little power connector here that's next to the SD card, and next to that are two sets of two, and they're marked plus and minus and left and right. So those are for your stereo speakers, and you want to put these guys in to those. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to connect directly to it, but you've got to take your shield off the Arduino to do that. Boy. That's really wedged in there pretty good. Okay, I managed to take it off. So if you're going to do that, you want to put these on the top. Paul and I had a little bit of an issue last time because we put them on the wrong side.
okay.
And you want to do it so that these terminals are sticking out on the outside of the board. See how those fit in there? You can even take a little piece of Scotch tape to hold that in while you're soldering it.
Those are the speaker connectors, yes? Like that's where, if it was a home speaker system, I just plug my wire into those?
Yeah.
Okay, where is it? Okay, so where do those go to?
So I guess I'll solder these in.
Okay. Where are those going again?
Okay, so if you look at your Arduino, I mean, look at your shield, and you'll see that on the side that's got this little power socket here next to the SD card holder. Next to that are these two sets of twos. See them? If you look really closely, it's got a plus and a minus.
Twos? Yeah. Okay.
And so those are for your stereo speakers. One for each speaker, and it also has a right and a left. So the right is the one that's closest to the edge here.
Okay.
And this is the left one.
Yes.
And so then you take these things with this part here where you stick the wires in, sticking out from the board, not in towards the board.
So it's sticking out rather than in.
Yeah, the part where you plug in. So facing out are these terminal connections. That's where you can stick wires in.
Okay, do you guys see that?
So you can see this. You can stick the wire in like this.
Okay, each time we're going to hold it up. For each of these, we're going to hold it up and make sure that...
So if you stick them in like this, and then kind of hold them on with your fingers and then set them down, they'll stay in with the pins sticking out. And then I'm going to just solder those pins.
Okay. Do you guys have them attached yet to each other? No, to the board.
To the board.
One one's not going up. Okay, then maybe it's the wrong side. So...
If you have trouble turning it over and having them fall out, you can take a little piece of Scotch tape to hold them in temporarily, which I may have to do. I'm going to keep trying here for a second.
Okay, go ahead and take this off.
Okay, So I've got these guys.
One second. Let's take this.
See how the pins are sticking out there?
No,
I got the 1, 2, 3, 4 pins sticking out the other side, the side where the long pins are coming.
Yeah, but you pull it up. It's connected to the pins. Pull it.
I'm going to solder these in now.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Let's Sophie, do you have yours on?
It won't work. It won't work anyway.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Put them on and let me hold it up.
It won't work anyway because there won't be a go on because there's something right there.
Okay,
Actually,
question is, I'm going to hold this up. Is this the right way to attach them?
Let me see. Let me look at this closely.
What's the temperature?
No, it should be the other. Let's see. Let me see the other side.
Okay, because if we do it on the other side, then there's something on the Arduino that blocks.
They should be on the same side as the SD card holder. And the bottom side, you just should see pins coming out.
Okay, but when we do that, then what happens is the plug over here will block them.
Yeah. Except they should be reversed so that the place where you stick the wire in is on the outside of the board.
Okay. So let me. Let's see there. Okay.
Because one of them goes in, but the other one is just blocked by this.
Okay. So, okay, the problem that we're having with this is that this one is black.
Yeah, that's how it should look.
That is how it should look. Okay, so
let me see that again.
Okay, yeah.
Hold that up to the camera again.
Parts sticking out. Let me.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So yeah, part of it's sticking out because of the.
You got to kind of fit it in and then turn it upside down so that the pin side is up, and sometimes So hold your finger on that and turn it upside down.
Okay.
And put it on the table so that you can solder those pins in. And if they fall out, you might just want to use a piece of Scotch tape to hold them in temporarily while you're doing that.
Okay. So guys, now got that. Now here's
What about the USB?
No. Once it's soldered, it'll be fine. Yeah. Once it's soldered, it's fine. So guys, yeah.
What's the temperature first?
Yeah, this is right now.
okay, so it's supposed to go like that.
Yeah.
I don't get how it.
Okay,
Because
it's just solder surface. Okay, but once it's soldered, it won't because that will.
Do we have another solder?
Can you cut a piece off?
There's no point in having to. Okay.
Oh, let me see. Let me see where your shields are, just to make sure. Okay. Well,
But
guys,
Mom,
we're going to make do with what we have.
Can you cut some of those?
Well, I don't have anything to put it with.
It's actually really good. It's good. You can probably just take care of some more.
Yeah, Carlos. There's no point in having to.
How's it going?
Well, we're having a discussion about having 2 soldering irons and only 1 thing of solder.
Do you have scissors that you can
Unique angle.
Where'd Bill go?
get it going?
Do you have a pair of scissors so we can cut some solder for everybody? Thanks. These are regular scissors?
Yeah, just
regular.
So are you almost done? I think not. Only solder 1 in, like for each.
Yeah, because we can do the rest after the geek out's over, so that we're not holding everybody up with 3 people.
While you're doing this, I'm going to get my Arduino set up.
Okay.
by connecting the USB to my computer and then to the Arduino.
Good.
I'm going to put my shield back on.
If it's not working, we'll get a piece of tape to tape it on.
Hello.
Oh,
Yes? Yes.
okay, so one for each.
Yes. Yes, we did.
I feel very odd because I watched all the Arduino Geek Outs, but I actually don't have one yet.
Yes, and unfortunately we're going to be out of town for that.
So,
But my wife got some pictures together
how,
for that. You might want to call her. Her phone number is 608.
Howard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah, sorry. A out-of-town engagement that we can't break. Sure. Thanks so much. Yeah, well, my wife had some pictures, so get in touch with me. Okay, bye.
It's out there.
Okay, so I'm connecting my Arduino. Cable.
Yeah, remember guys, blow the smoke away from yourself. Yeah, not towards any of us. Blow it like away. Yeah, okay.
I need to go over the phone.
Here's the whole,
No, but it will just fall right off. There, it's good.
guys, I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I need you to pay very close attention to anything Howard says.
Okay.
We will. Got it? The other.
I'm gonna do shit. No, I need to shut this stuff in.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Use it after you actually. I'll just use it. Yeah, this is gonna. So, okay. Well, can you pass me some solid, please?
While you are doing that, I am making sure that the track on my SD card is named track001.mp3. You can have a number of tracks.
Okay. I loaded 2 tracks for each of the kids. I loaded track 001 and 002.
Yeah, track001.mp3 and track002.mp3. Well, unless they're WAV files, in which case it's .wav. Okay, so do you have the shields finished yet?
Okay,
Work
guys,
on it.
everybody try, let's put that away until after
Okay,
the
I was waiting for them to.
yeah, the other one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so everybody, let's put your shields together.
I did.
Okay. Ben, you've got your shields together? Ben? Okay. Okay.
So,
Put
yeah,
the,
I'm gonna start on the tip of it.
okay, yeah, you're supposed to, I think you're supposed to leave solder on the tip. We'll do that after the GFAD is over so that they're not waiting for all of us to get our soldering done.
So I'll make it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the way you connect speaker wires to these terminals here is you use a really, really tiny Phillips head screwdriver.
I actually used to have speakers.
Wait a second.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So
hilarious.
I'm gonna switch to my other camera so I can show you how that's done.
Okay. So everybody keep a really, really close eye on how it's doing. Yeah, we prepared out your Phillips
So
head.
see, this is a really, really tiny Phillips head screwdriver. Do you have that one of those?
Because we're gonna get.
Yeah, this is what we've got here. It's a flathead.
Okay, if you look, you'll see that these are Phillips heads, so that's going to be key to fastening these down. You can temporarily connect your speaker wires, but if you want to really fasten them, what you've got to do is loosen these screws up top.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll go get my tiny screwdriver.
Okay. Reba, do you have the tiny screwdrivers in your electronics kit or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. We will need to move
Take your
them.
speaker wires, and you want to put your
We thought it'd be like.
connect your plus to your plus and your minus to your minus.
If you can unscrew them.
Do I leave it on the Arduino board?
See how you fit
You can
fit them into the terminals here.
Hang on now. Ours.
Look on the speaker and you'll see the plus and the minus, and look on the terminals and you'll see the plus and the minus.
Okay. I don't think they came with speaker wire. Can we use can we use like these to attach them?
So do you see how I did that?
Okay. Guys, does everybody see what he
You
did?
can, for the purpose of testing it, you can stick those in and kind of hold them in there, but you want to keep them in kind of solid. You want to screw down those little screws. Don't use a flathead screwdriver. Use a Phillips, or you'll strip the screws. And very tiny. So when you unscrew them to get them loose, be really careful that you don't screw them all the way out and drop them on the floor, because they're really hard to find once you've done that.
I've taken out all 4 screws and they're fine.
Okay. Question: can we use these for speaker wire?
You don't have to take them out.
Yeah.
Unscrew them as much as
Okay, see how I've done this? I have screwed these screws out. I've put the wires in, the plus to the plus, the minus to the minus, and then I screwed this down. I've stripped just about 1/8 of an inch on the end of the wires.
Okay. Howard,
Yeah.
we don't have anything like speaker wires. Can we use these?
Pardon?
We don't have speaker wires. Can we use something like this?
Yeah.
You conduct, yeah.
Okay, so guys, we can use these for speaker wires. Okay. Okay. Here's. Reba, will you hand
Here, I'll get it.
some out to?
Can you pick this up?
Can I keep this? Can I keep this?
Yeah.
This stuff? And the SD card?
Yeah. I think for everyone of you, if I don't mind. Yeah.
Here's two for you.
How long should they deliver?
So, okay, I've got those picked up.
So, I'm going to keep both of them.
Success.
You're going to need one for the positive side and one for the negative side. You see how each one has,
Yeah, on the back.
Yeah.
Nice, nice and tight.
exactly, yeah,
You know what I do?
okay.
I have one for the plus side, one for the minus side.
One for the plus side and one for the minus side.
And how do I?
You see how over here there's the plus and minus? Over here there should be a plus and minus.
Traditionally, you use black for the minus or the ground, and red for the positive or the power. That helps you remember what to connect to what. If you look on the speaker, you will see that the plus and minus terminals are clearly marked. And if you look closely at the shield, you'll see that there are plus and minus and right and left. I'm only connecting one speaker here.
Okay, so, yeah, guys, no. Each one is for one speaker. You've got two speakers. So, yeah. And after this is over, maybe we should go to Radio Shack and get some red and black ones to, red and black wires to, okay, there you go. Sophie, what's going to happen is it's going to go in, see over there, and those screws are what's going to tighten it down. If you unscrew the, okay.
Yeah, if you have a little Phillips, just unscrew them a little bit so that you can fit the wire in. Don't screw them to the point where they come out.
Okay, so we don't unscrew them to the point.
Just loosen them a little bit. You should be able to fit the wire in so that the stripped part of the wire fits in firmly, and then screw down those screws, and that will hold them down.
Yeah, screw them down. So he said don't take them out, just loosen them a little. Yeah, and after this is over, maybe what we can do is run out to Radio Shack and get red and black wires for you guys to use. Yeah, this should still work for the purpose of testing.
Or should it still come out?
It should not. You should tighten it down.
Can I solder? I should. I'm take them off.
Yeah, we're going to take them off and use proper wires. Okay?
And then after we use the proper wires, assess.
Well, we're going to test, and then we're going to load the music that we like. Okay?
So, let me do my other part of my factory.
Okay. Should I do both? No, just attach one set of speakers right now. Which means that you want to put the screws back on.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the...
Okay.
Okay, because when you finish getting those speakers connected, we're ready to download the software.
Okay. So, Rita, you have yours connected?
Paul?
I have mine, but I need to screw it.
Paul, do you remember that there was a line in the code that you needed to comment or uncomment to make that work?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it that you commented or uncommented?
Both. First you uncomment one line and comment another one.
Okay, let's see if we can find that. You guys tell me when you're ready to go to the software.
Okay.
There's a presumably you have your Arduino IDE downloaded and set up. Have you set that up?
Presumably I do, and I'm looking right now, and it seems to have disappeared.
It's a little hard. It's a little hard for me to hear you. Maybe you can type into the chat.
Okay. Ben,
I can hear you better now.
Yeah, my Arduino.
Okay, do you have your computer with the Arduino?
So you have the Arduino software loaded?
I am very embarrassed to admit I thought I did, but it does not seem to be on here anymore. So I'm going to re-download it very quickly.
Okay, it shouldn't take long. You want to install that. You want to connect your USB cable to your Arduino. You want to fire up the software, and then I'll tell you how to set it up for the Arduino. You're still working on downloading that, Jill?
Yeah, it's got about 6 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Yeah. Reva, do you know what happened to this computer? Because the Hangouts went away and Arduino went away. Yeah, the Hangouts and the Arduino went away.
If you hit Window at the top of the screen, or you hit Alt-Tab at the same time, you should be able to see what's open.
Oh, that's right. They probably wiped the system when they repaired it. Probably because there's a search for. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, I will use longer wires for me.
Jill, did you find your window?
Yeah, it's installing right now.
Did you find the Hangout window?
Let's see. Okay, I'm on Hangouts.
Okay, so if you have the software installed, there's a couple of things you need to do.
Okay.
First of all, have you connected your Arduino with the USB cable?
Let's see. Eva, can you give me your Arduino? Okay. It is connected now.
Okay, and it's connected to your computer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now fire up the IDE, the Arduino software.
Okay, it's opened up.
Okay, then you notice at the top you've got a menu, and under Tools, go to Board and check the board that you've got. Do you have an Uno?
Yes, and I've got
Okay,
that
so
checked.
just make sure that there's a check mark next to the Arduino Uno.
There's a dot mark. Would that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then also under the Tools menu, there's the serial port.
The serial monitor?
Serial port. Under Board.
Yeah.
See what
I see serial port. It says COM3.
Okay, you want to make sure that you've got the right port connected. What does it say there?
It says COM3.
You have several different choices?
No, just COM3.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the Windows setup. Evan, does that sound right to you?
No, it doesn't.
Paul? I defer to Paul.
Paul?
It doesn't sound right. Should say COM10 or something like that.
Okay. Let me try a different one.
Yeah, sometimes it helps to try a different USB connector.
I have come. It still says complete. Let me try last month.
Did you have the Arduino connected before you opened the Arduino software?
No, I didn't. Let
Okay,
me.
so if your Arduino is connected through the USB port, quit the Arduino software and restart it.
Okay. I just. It still has come pre-checked.
Oh, okay. You quit the software and restarted it, and it still has COM3 checked,
Still has come pre-checked.
and there's no other alternatives available.
None.
Well, let's try it and see.
Okay.
So the next thing to do is to download the library. You'll see in the chat there's a URL
Mm-hmm.
that will enable you to download the zip file. It will take you just a second, and then you want to unzip that file.
I'm looking for a solution to the COM3 issue, so keep on going. Maybe I'll have a link here in a second.
Okay, Paul, where is the libraries folder usually on a Windows machine?
It's in documents and settings. Is that under documents?
Okay,
Documents
so
and documents
Jill,
Arduino.
okay, Jill,
And
have you downloaded? Have you unzipped that software?
I have.
Okay, so look at your documents folder under Arduino, and there should be a libraries folder there.
Me.
Oh, let's see. The folder inside the zip file,
Uh-huh.
you want
Okay.
to rename it to. I'm going to type it in here.
Okay. Do you want me to drag it to the Arduino?
I want you to rename it first with this name.
Okay. Okay. What should I read? Okay.
Okay, and then you go into your document settings folder, and there should be an Arduino folder within that.
Okay.
And inside the Arduino directory should be one called Sketchbook, and there's a libraries folder inside that.
Hang on 1 second. Um, okay. So now,
Did you find the Arduino libraries folder?
yes.
Okay, put that folder called let's see. The folder should be named Adafruit VS 1053, like I put into the chat. And
Yeah.
put that folder inside your sketchbook folder. And then if you look inside that folder, you should see two files. One is called Adafruit VS 1053.cpp, and the other one is Adafruit VS 1053.h.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so next,
Um, um,
yeah, any problem with that?
okay, there we go. I got it now.
Okay, so now shut the Arduino IDE down, quit
Okay.
it, and unplug the USB cable from your computer and plug it back in again,
Okay.
and then fire up Arduino again.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I've got it.
Okay, and then go make sure that it's the board is Arduino Uno, and then go try your serial port again.
It still says COM3.
Let's go ahead and see if we can make it work.
Okay.
Okay, so there's something you need to do with that sketch, which is you have to find the line that says Ada fruit vs. Okay, so open. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of you here. You want to open the sketch called Player Simple.
Um,
In that folder.
I have GPIO test, interrupts, mini test, player simple. I got it.
Okay, so open that,
Okay.
and then we're going to look for a line in that. I'm typing this in. Okay, look for a line that says this.
Okay. Okay.
And under that, you'll see a couple of things that are commented by having slashes in front of them.
Create shield, create breakout example object.
Right. Those two slashes mean that the Adafruit compiler does not read those. So that's where you can put in comments. What you want to do is you want to take the line that says / Adafruit VS 1053 file player breakout reset. It's the third line down. It's the one under the one you just read.
Okay. I see
You want
that.
to you want to put two slashes in front of that.
Okay, so the one that says file player breakout reset.
Yeah, the
Okay.
third. Okay, put two slashes in front of that, and then two lines after that it says / Adafruit V S1053 file player shield reset, etc. Take the two slashes off of that.
Okay.
Okay, and now save it.
Okay.
Okay, now read what Evan put into the chat.
Oh, it's marked read only, so I'll need to resave this sketch to another location.
Yeah, okay, so save it as, call it simple player fixed. And you can save it in your sketchbook. Okay, got that?
Yes.
Okay, so go to Evan's advice in the chat. Go to Control Panel Device Manager.
Control.
This is in your Windows, not in the Arduino.
Okay. Say that one more time. Control.
Go to Control Panel Device Manager. Look for the COM port and right-click and go to Properties. In the Advanced tab, there's a button that is also called Advanced. In it, you can reassign the COM3 to another COM.
Okay. So where it says Arduino. It doesn't seem to be allowing me to reassign this to another property.
If it says this port is being used, disregard it.
What's going on? Okay, can you say that one more time?
It says, in the Advanced tab, there's a button that is also called Advanced. In it, you can reassign COM3 to another COM. Disregard any warning that this port is being used, because since you don't have anything connected to those ports, they're not being used.
Okay.
Once you reassign it and press OK to whatever it complained about to force it, then connect and disconnect the Arduino. It should show up in the new port and work.
Okay. I'm going into hardware and sound. And okay, if I go back to Control Panel and I go to hardware and sound.
Go to Device Manager. Control Panel Device Manager.
Let me do a search for Device Manager.
I'll send you a link in 1 second.
Okay, I've got it.
Okay, look for the COM port and right-click and go to Properties.
Okay, so I've got my ports and properties.
Okay, in the Advanced tab, there's a button that is also called Advanced. In it, you can reassign COM3 to another COM.
It is not giving me access to anything called an Advanced tab. Let me try Customize. No.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse me. Do you know if you have 64-bit Windows 8 one?
I think it's I think this is a 64-bit computer.
Yeah, I think maybe it has something to do with the Windows 8 64-bit doesn't allow you to install unsigned drivers. So you have to do a workaround to get the Arduino driver into, the driver into the computer. And I think
It's the driver issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you should be all set up except for that driver. Once you can get that COM port assigned, what you want to do is go to the Arduino IDE. Let me go to screen sharing and see if I can set that up for you, show you how that works. Okay. So hang on a second. And I'm going to go to the screen sharing. So you should see the sketch on the screen now.
Okay, and let's see. If I open that,
Are you seeing my screen?
yes.
Okay. See at the top of the sketch, there are a series of icons. There's a check mark and a right arrow.
I'm going to close down my Arduino and reopen it. Okay. There we go. I see. Yes.
What you're going to want to do once you get that COM port working is click on the right arrow, and what that will do is it's going to upload this. It's going to compile the sketch and upload it. And if you've got it set up right, it should play. I'm going to put my can you hear that? Kind of a weird science fiction-y sound. So that's coming from the Arduino Shield.
Okay. Can somebody hand me their shield? I'm gonna take this one.
I include a link that has like how to reset it, but you're gonna have to shut down your computer and disable some stuff. So
Yeah, you can.
We're coming up on 2 hours here, so I'm going to stop the broadcast.